can begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father in heaven, we're grateful of our heads before thee at the beginning of this Tocqueville City Council meeting. We're thankful for our citizens, grateful for their input and for their interest in the affairs of this city. We pray that we might have thy spirit to guide and direct us in the decisions that we're about to make this evening. And we express our thanks for the opportunity we have to live in this great city with the great neighbors that we have. And we thank thee in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Gary. At this time, if anyone has any other statement of belief or an alternate prayer, please come forward. All right, we're going to move on to approval of the agenda. Everybody look
So
at the agenda.
moved.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Declaration of conflict from the council and or the mayor. Anyone? Perfect. Great. We're going to move on. Consent agenda. Review and possible approval of meeting minutes, October 18th, 2023, special city council meeting, and November 1, 2023, city council meeting. And while we're at it, let's review and possible approval of the city expenditures from September 2023.
Do you want to do those separate, Mayor, so you can do a roll call on item 2?
I guess we could.
I'd make a motion.
We could.
I move that we approve consent agenda item number C1.
I would second the motion, Mayor.
Any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Expenditures?
I'd move that we approve the expenditures from September 2023.
Roll, sorry. I have a motion, a second, sorry.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Start on my Joey side.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion is approved. I don't see him here from Stanley. We're not getting a report.
We have a video if you want to.
Yes, I do. If we have a video,
I like that.
I would love to see that. I love Bob, but this looks better.
Same one as last time?
No.
No, that's a different
new
truck.
one. You need to put the music.
I can tell you, for a little bit of an update, the bridge deck is scheduled to be poured on Wednesday.
Oh, nice.
It's 300 yards. It'll be continuous pour, so they should have the bridge deck poured before Thanksgiving. That's been scheduled.
Those machines don't look so big when they're
Chipping away.
that cut.
Oh, that
giant.
video's a little old.
Yeah. Got the abutments in. And the bridge on the north side's the utility bridge. Is that what that was? Okay.
Upstream.
Yep. That looks good. That's pretty much just grade there, isn't it? Subgrade, how far are
Pretty
we up on
close.
that?
This, I mean, the girders aren't in, so they're not to subgrade yet.
Okay.
They're there now.
Looks good.
Already growing tumbleweeds.
Sure doesn't
That
take
it?
long.
Perfect.
There's your update.
That's a
Mayor.
great update. I like those kind. That was quick. All right, we're going to move on to our business items. E1, discuss the possible action on memorandum of understanding for Settlers Junction RV Park. Everybody's seen this. It's a draft. We've looked at it. We've got a few changes we need to be made. What discussion do you guys like to?
I'd like to make a motion to table business item E1.
Second.
We need some further discussion.
Have we discussed the items that need to be removed or changed in there? We give a direction to
That's what I'm wondering. Should we give
I
some
don't think
direction?
we maybe
or-
should state it for Heath, what we talked
Yeah,
about.
I would love
think
to
that'd be a
hear.
really good idea,
That's
actually.
okay. Perfect. So we discussed a few things. There's like item 6. I pulled mine up again.
Yep.
The
Partial
whole
revision.
item 6 we
Yeah.
need to remove.
There's also one in there that says 120 days to complete
The amenities.
the amenities and
That was just placeholder.
so
Yeah,
we need to
so-
make sure, what we did talked about is 6 months for the check-in building and then up to 1 year for the rest of the amenities.
And then we needed to also look at, it says that there's 7 meters and there are only 6.
Yep.
So we need to just change that to say 6.
And I've sent my red line to Heath,
Yeah, he's got.
and
So the
there's some other
applicant knows.
things that I think just need to be communicated back and forth between the property owner and Heath.
Okay. Have they reviewed?
That he, and Lance is here, but he's gonna have his attorney look at it
Okay.
as well. And
Let's get any feedback from them, then we can get
Yeah,
all the
Lance, do you
changes
have
made at
anything,
at one point
you'd
in
want
time.
to come up to the mic and any concerns you have on this?
No, thanks for your time, everyone. Talked with, Anthony and Darren quite extensively on this, and it's all in good shape. I mean, obviously, the first drafts for a reason, so there are a few things, and about the water meters, and some of the language about the 6 months for the amenities and whatnot. So I think, I feel like we're on the same page, and I feel like this memorandum of understanding is going to serve both of us, settle some things up for me, and as well as give the city some protection on a right of way we need for an easement still for water, and delineate the protection we have. It's a private water line that the city owns, but if anything happens, we have to fix it. And so I think it serves both parties to get this done. And my biggest concern is if we get our punch list all done and all the utilities have signed off on it, we can go out with our soft opening if this is still somewhat of a work in progress. And I've been assured that is the case.
that we're going to work in good faith. Heath is going to work with you and yours to get the
Yeah.
language right of these red lines.
If I get any feedback from you, I'll just make all the changes at one point in time and send it so you can see that we've made the changes the council wants, and anything that I find acceptable that your council wants, and we can get it ready for signature.
Because our hope is to have a soft opening December 8th or
When's our next city council meeting?
6.
you guys are only a couple of days ahead of that. So
Yeah.
like if for some
Right.
reason we get done a week ahead of time with our punch list and we get a C of O, we'd love to open a week earlier if possible. And I'm hoping we can do that while this is still, being massaged a bit.
Can we do staff?
Does that need to be done before the
Yeah,
CBO?
can-
Remember?
if they have their CO and their civil side, can they open without this MOU? And the city covered and them covered?
Well, they'll have a certificate of occupancy on
The civil.
on the civil side of things. There are other components of their construction that's not being done. So we have to deal with that in this memorandum of understanding. I would suggest that we just work
To finish.
quickly to get this thing done so that it's a matter of
Getting the CO.
getting the CO.
Okay.
If for some reason you're done early, I think it could be circulated to council, and she can take a phone vote and we can ratify it at the next meeting if there's really a need to open earlier than the
If you get
6th.
ahead of schedule, I think it would probably be easy to circulate it because the city council already knows what they want to see in it. And too.
And just so the council knows right now, Lance has been just a great person to work with. Also, the thing is, there's on that civil punch list, there's sewer items, there's the city engineer items, water items, and then UDOT has some items on that. That's kind of
Right.
Those are
Yeah,
some
well,
of
if those are all passed off.
and Lance and both Lance and his contractor have that. But
Yeah.
those are the utility entities that had anything, and Rocky Mountain Power has actually signed off on their improvements.
Perfect. I think we're on a good motion. I think we're headed the right way.
So time is of the essence. It took us almost 4 months to get this.
Yeah,
We need to get changes turned around much, much quicker than that, hopefully.
yeah, I think we're gonna get on this fast.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lance.
Blanks in there. that
Okay,
need to
we've
be
had our
filled in.
discussion. Do we need to modify your
There's a
motion?
couple of blanks that need to be filled in there.
Yeah, we had a motion to table.
And it's been seconded, Mayor.
The second, okay, so we're good with all right, all in favor to table this item?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Item F2, discuss the possible action on night rental application submitted by Luen Power, how do you say that?
Lane.
Power?
Thank
All right.
you.
And
Lane Power. Current zonings are 120, single family resident. And we had our planning commission, Ty, what did I pull that up real quick.
We're just reading through it.
so
Go ahead, Darren.
Since basically this application that was deemed complete on 10/5 of 2023 per the requirements of our nightly rental code, the city, basically the parking requirements have been verified by Riker and myself, and it has been deemed that this said parking follows our code. The Hurricane Valley Fire District that we did learn as of today has signed off on it, and he has approved that fire inspection. He has also received a CO on the actual building itself. Now, as per the Planning Commission at that point in time, in our code, it talks about a 30-day verification, and needs to complete the application and the process in the 30 days. And he had not done that. So that's the reason that the Planning Commission had given a recommendation of denial. That was not unanimous. It was 3-5.
3-2.
3-2, sorry.
Everything is completed now.
It is now.
Sean,
Sean, do you have anything you want to add to that, or?
That's pretty much it.
Okay.
So the way our code states, 30 days after application to have your fire inspection completed. We're looking at changing that to 45 days to make sure we don't have any issues with setting meetings and the applicant having time for the fire inspection. And then another issue that we saw was parking. Our code states 4 9x18 parking stalls or spaces. However, the layout on his parking, you can see the two are tandem parked or end to end, I guess, or how you say that. And the other 2 spaces are within the garage. So that would be are we accessing that from the south side?
So where does the
So
residence?
there's no way that you could back out of the garage if you had those spaces used for the rental without moving cars around and things like that. This is another issue that we're going to address. You're going to see in our next meeting, we'll be looking at some changes for our nightly rental ordinance again to accommodate these issues.
Again?
That was something we saw, yeah. We didn't want to do that. Another one, we're going to make sure that we won't accept a application unless we have a certificate of occupation. So we've got 2 of those tonight. Both of them, neither one of them had their occupancy when they came before us. So that was why we denied it. He passed his 30 days. That's what our code says. And the other one, you'll see.
Didn't it used to read that you didn't need the fire approval until you just had to have it prior to getting your permit issue?
So the way it states and the way it's written in our code is that it's after application. So you could come in and put in an application. So he put his application in October 5th.
Mm-hmm.
We saw his application on the 8th of November. But he could have come in, or he could have scheduled a fire inspection anytime in that 30 days. So when he came to us, he could have had that completed. However, I believe that if he didn't have a certificate of occupancy, he probably wouldn't have gotten a fire inspection. So it's something that we like, oh, there it is. We need to fix that. So
There was also quite a bit of discussion. We've got a little bit in our off-street parking ordinance. It deals with just off-street parking generally, not necessarily in short-term rental situations. And I think the Planning Commission felt it important that in these types of situations where cars are parked off-street become critical to issues like health, safety, and things like that. And so they're looking at one thing in adding to it, in addition to requiring clearly as a requirement for application, a certificate of occupancy, and moving that back to 45 days so that the timing works. They also discussed the possibility of adding requirement that parking not be like tandem and in situations where you can't have, because technically they can get enough cars off the street to park there, but the house is on fire. It'd be a little bit of a problem.
I think also it would be helpful in our ordinance to have a diagram of what the parking needs to be.
I think this one could definitely use, I'm not a huge fan of illustrations, but this could definitely be a situation where that would be helpful.
Okay.
So if he was the owner of the property, instead of parking his cars in the garage, he would park those in the street. Is there an ordinance against that?
Yeah, and it states that in our nightly rental that no off-site parking or on-street parking. I can't remember.
Correct. Off-street.
Yeah. So it says we can't park on the street to accommodate neither.
Okay, so the host or the guest.
Regardless,
either
the
one.
the host can't park
Neither.
on the street so that the guests can park
Right.
off street.
Okay, so there's got to be four, and these
So
four.
if there
are-
were verified complaints, code enforcement, then when it comes up for annual renewal, that would be a basis for not renewing the short-term rental permit.
But the code isn't really clear on this.
It's not clear,
In
it's
this
not clear on the
situation,
location. Yeah,
he's met the four.
Yes, at this
He's
point,
met it.
he's met, the way the code reads, he has met the criteria.
He's got two spaces in his garage and two out on the
Yeah.
driveway.
Okay.
We may want to,
Go ahead.
so I drove by there today. We may want to specify when we identify where those parking spots are, that they need to be like an all-weather surface, gravel or something, so if they're not just parking in a dirt field. You know, if that's the case, then they'll end up parking on the road anyway, so
our-
we could quickly.
Our
clean
off-street
that up.
parking says you can't park in front yards, things like that. It's not incredibly specific on side yards,
You could just put gravel and you covered it, right?
but that would be.
And that's currently concrete, right?
It is, and you can see there's posts there. That's for an upper deck, is that correct? So you would be able to pull in parallel with each of those. One would be perpendicular to the other.
Yeah, and the drawing's a little misleading because the outside edge of that deck is a cantilever edge, so the posts are set back about 3.5 feet behind that edge there, so there's a little bit more room. I did try it today, and this would be up for, I guess, verification, but I tried to park in that most, what direction is that? The bottom parking spot there, and I was still able to get our other car into the garage. We have an Outback, so I don't know if you have an F-150 in that parking spot. That's a different story, but there is a little bit of wiggle room there. Anyways.
There was question before, if I remember correctly, of emergency contact or something like that, and that was left blank. We
And-
have that now.
Yeah, he does have that. He's provided that in an email to planning staff.
And he said it was a misunderstanding. He didn't quite understand the question.
True.
So basically, at this time, he's got everything passed off and up to code.
That's the building inspector did and verify that with planning staff as well.
All right, any other questions, guys? Comments?
How many beds are in their room?
Just one, it's a studio.
Just one. He's probably very rarely going to have two cars in there anyway.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
matches.
but that's,
code
yeah.
the way it's written
Yeah.
now, so.
Okay.
I need a motion.
I move that we go ahead and approve business item B2, nightly rental application for Lane Power.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion at this time?
So Mayor, the only other thing I'd just make sure is, as I read through this, and I want to just make sure I'm clear, we got all of the concerns from Planning Commission cleared up. Because I just noticed we had, it was a 3-2. Did we clear up the rest of those concerns?
We cleared up everything as per our code states today. We're going to change some things, but as the code states, if he had a CO and also the fire inspection, he was good to go.
But the 30 days did come in. That
Oh, that's right.
the 30 days was the big reason why the denial was
Yeah.
given, or that was stated in the meeting.
And that's why we're looking at 45 days instead of 30, but
Making a change. Okay.
Okay, so we as a council then have to, what, because
just
it's past
approve
that 30 days, we have to
Yeah, they'll-
waive
they'll-
it, or do we have to do anything?
Just vote
No.
whether you want or not.
Okay.
So I have a motion and a second on the table here. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Item E3, discuss some possible action on nightly rental application submitted by Michael Orban, tax ID. Current zoning is R120 family, single family resident zoning.
Okay, so
Where are we at on this one, Darren?
this one is on that corner there of Old Church and it's basically the new Troy Wall subdivision. We did this application. It's interesting because this application was deemed complete on 10/19, which was plenty of time with that 30-day deadline. But they did not have a CO on the actual property as of that date a week ago. In the motion, as it's in your packet, you can see that the motion was to approve or deny if they did not have their CO by tonight, which they do not have that CO as of tonight. Everything else, for the most part, has been complete. They are going to live in the residence, and then they got a driveway there that connects the casita and the main home. Essentially, they have plenty of parking. We've verified that. And so like I say, they have not got their CO, so they do not have the fire inspection as of yet.
So, curious question here. If everything's done and good, do we table this item or we just out? I mean, I'm just curious, how do we move forward on this where everything's completed except they don't have a CO or a fire?
I think,
So-
Mayor, we have to be really, really careful.
Exactly.
When we passed our nightly rental ordinance, we identified like, hey, we're going to form a list. And the only way to get on that list is to have a dwelling to move into, right? And if we don't adhere to that, then you could go apply at any time.
Yeah.
And I can see that becoming.
And my point to
problematic.
the planning commission is that they have to apply, they can't do a short-term rental in something that like a recreational vehicle, something, it has to be a dwelling. And in order for it to be a dwelling, it has to be
Approves.
habitable.
Has to have a home.
It's got to have a certificate of occupancy. And I said, that's implied, I guess, even though we may need to be a little more specific in our
We're
code.
going to state
That
that.
they can't technically, they're not supposed to by law habitate in there. And so they don't have a dwelling technically yet.
So can we, in this ordinance, we're modifying it, can we just say before
Gotta
you
have a
can even
CO.
apply, you have to have a CO before you
At
even
the
make
time
that?
of application, yeah, at the
We're
time of
already working
application, you
on
gotta have a CO.
Okay.
That
That takes care of it.
way there's
So, Mayor, you
exactly
ready?
clear verbiage.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Can I
Go
ask a
ahead. Yeah,
question?
absolutely, Todd.
Sorry.
You're good.
Is that okay? If,
In the city, this is denied.
if this is denied.
Yeah.
Do they go back, they have to start over? If it's denied,
Staff.
number one. Number two,
I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to Heath.
okay, so number one, if it's denied, do they have to start over?
They
And
would,
how does that affect their place on our list?
they would be,
They would. I believe planning staff believes that they would have to reapply.
Okay, and then how does that?
And just so you know, there is nobody on the
and-
waiting list.
And so, and two things with
That's
that, it
fine.
is a $400 application fee that they pay to apply because that obviously puts them on the waiting list and it does that. So, so there is that they would have to reapply. If this is denied tonight, there are 2 permits available. We have no one on the waiting list, so they could immediately reapply when they have their certificate of occupancy.
So staff, just because this will come up, right? Are we going to charge them at the $400 again? Where we did not point out to them that they.
So-
have
so
to see it?
normally-
How are we going to balance
Well,
that out?
normally, yes, normally,
Yeah.
because it's an application fee, it is not an approval fee, it's an application fee. In this instance, we're going to refer to Heath and just defer to
Well,
Heath and see what he,
technically, the only body that can.
This one?
And I tell the staff this all the time, the only body that can waive a fee is this council. I don't know that they've asked for it. I don't know if they're present here.
Yeah.
Oh. They can request that. I think that the timing would be that they could ask when they reapply for a waiver of that fee a second time. And if the council feels like that, but like Afton says, there is expense that the city incurs in
Processing.
administering. It's been on agenda, been through the planning commission. Now it's been on this agenda and been through the council. been reviewed.
taxpayers, right, and that's that's the whole point of it being an application fee rather than an approval fee, is that the application fee, the staff has already reviewed it, right? Regardless, the legal counsel, we've.
How long,
discussed it
how long
tonight.
till the CO
I'm
vote's
so-
done?
Yeah, how long?
Monday. And I've already talked to be paid for our fire inspection. I feel like everything in the process, we've been very on the ball. I think that you guys can maybe vouch for that. John can't do the fire inspection until he does the final CO inspection, which I'm sure any of you have built. There's random things that come up. So they just had to replace a couple of sidewalk panels that someone had cracked at some point. Those got poured yesterday. Lights went in yesterday. I honestly don't know what else they're waiting on, or if it's John's schedule that is able to get in on Monday. But I did talk to John. He said he could do that fire inspection at the same time when he's there doing the building inspection, and that is supposed to be happening on Monday. We can't control the schedule.
And just so you know that the CO doesn't come exclusively from John. There's also the Public Works who has to sign off on, and that's why they replaced some of the concrete in the sidewalk. And JD goes out and verifies the backflow preventer, everything like that. And I believe he has, because they did replace that sidewalk. I have not verified that with JD at all.
And so from staff, just to clarify on this one of the $400, so just to clarify on this one, where the thing that's holding them up is the certificate of occupancy, and we did not have that clearly stated in the ordinance
code,
before we accepted that application. The ask would be, this is the first time we've sent somebody back through the reapplication process. And so, I mean, the consideration would be that the city accept an application
We can
without
approve
a
it on
certificate
conditions.
of occupancy.
We could.
So you've either got, yeah, you could approve it
Well, we
with
need-
conditions, you could
Right.
deny and have them come back through the.
It was learning experience for
process and-
everyone. When I opined, you don't have a dwelling until you have an occupancy permit.
Are you ready for
That was-
motion?
And our ordinance doesn't state that at this
Staff,
time.
yeah,
as we-
but staff
we're gonna
recognizes
correct
now
this.
if someone tries to apply without an occupancy
And you're
permit,
ready
they'll
for a
probably
motion.
reject it right away.
Ready to
By
make a
saying the
motion.
Same thing, it's not a dwelling.
Our attorney was discussing, but yes.
I'd make
Yep.
a motion to approve business item E3 on the condition that the C of O is done within 30 days and the fire inspection is done within 45 days after the CO. For approval, motion for approval.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Any further discussion on this item?
We actually want to make an amendment to that. So, and then if it doesn't get completed within 30 days, then we'd have to redo the application process.
Okay. Good with that change? on
Second.
that? Second. Say, Daisy, you got that? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
And so just to clarify that will, if this permit, if the conditions are met and the approval's granted, then we have one permit left in the city, nobody on the waiting list. And then that will give us, then we will not have another permit available for a long time. We've got to have a big increase in population before there will be another permit available. So that'll give us time to work on the ordinance too.
Don't publicize that.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying,
Oh, it's a public
there's only
meeting.
one.
Oh, whoops.
There's only one.
Item E4, discuss the possible action on ordinance 2023 business license to modify regulations regarding the term for new business license and renewal of existing business license.
So we used to have in our ordinance provision, which required that if you applied anytime after, I think, was it October?
October 31st.
You could pay the fee and have a license, not just to the end of the year, but you get a couple months of that year and all of the next year. And we're just trying to clarify that. Staff has looked at that closely and had me look at it. And so it just clearly says that it
will run calendar year.
Yeah, run calendar year to calendar year. And that's
Okay.
the way most cities do it.
So
It
if
was a
I,
nicety, I guess, that
if I want to start a business and come in November for a business license, I'm going to pay an annual fee for 1 month.
Yep.
2 months you do it, unless it's the
Or
end of
2
November.
months, November and December.
Yeah.
I didn't go to school hard.
I don't know if we had a high school back then, Hurricane. It was 1906 is when they settled the place, I'm not sure, so. All right. That's pretty straightforward. Any discussion on this? All right, I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve this. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Item E5, discuss the possible action on ordinance 2023 Planning Commission to modify the alternate members' attendance rules.
This one was pretty simple. This was brought up by Councilman Sands. We addressed it. It's changing the word shall to will attend. So it takes out the alternate members of planning commission shall attend meetings. It just says that they will attend meetings. It could say they may, I mean, but that's the ask, is just change the word shall to will.
Okay, pretty clean, pretty straightforward.
So moved.
Motion in a couple seconds. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Well, on the attendance side of it, they can miss with permission in advance notice. And the alternates are under the same attendance program as the regular council. Planning commissioners.
Yeah.
Which is two
Two consecutive absences, right?
That's down in D.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, there's discussion. Back to our motion still stands. More discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Wow. Business items are taken care of. All right. Calendar of events. We have our Tocqueville Turkey Trot Trail Run Thursday, November 23rd, Center Street Park at 8:30 a.m. We have our Christmas tree lighting ceremony Saturday, December 2nd at the City Hall here at 6 p.m. We have our open house for our city logo on Wednesday, December 6th, 2023 at 5 p.m. Community readiness meeting, which is great. I went to the last one. They talked about herbs and antibiotics and a few things. It was a great, well attended. I think there was 45 people there. It was well attended. So everybody come out to those. There's a lot of good information there. That is on December 14th at 7 p.m. here in the City Hall. Reach Across America, Saturday, December 16th, 2023. I'd like to give you guys a report. The footings report and the wall is formed up for our new flag poles. The flag poles are in the form. They're all level and true. We got a string line on them right now. It's out there today, helping with that. They are ready. They're pouring concrete on Tuesday. So we will have that wall poured and we'll have the sonotubes in we're actually putting an American flag and a Utah flag on both sides of the pavilion there. So those will be in and ready to be poured as well on Tuesday. So it's going to look really good for the Reach Across America. It's looking really awesome out there. Our cemetery, minus the gophers, it's never looked so good. We've had a bad gopher year. Chuck.
Yeah, there will be a color guard provided by Utah Military Academy. And already cleared that with Greg Turner. He asked me to find one and just happened to know where I could find one. So we have one.
Perfect. Gary.
Just wondering why we changed the tree lighting ceremony from the Saturday after Thanksgiving to December 2nd.
I think it was a lack of people showing up.
Right.
Attendance.
Yeah.
Attendance.
Yep.
So we're going to try another date then and see what happens.
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to shuffle the deck.
Todd.
I got one
Pick
thing.
another day.
I too have attended the readiness meetings. I thought they've been excellent.
Yeah.
I've attended them all.
I've been to one, you've been to all of them.
Yeah, so they've been very good. And one thing I'd like to ask the Bents is, as far as the readiness meetings, I know you guys are going to rotate them. And one suggestion I would have is maybe pick another night when you guys start over again, because I know there are some people that Thursdays aren't good for them. So maybe a Monday or Tuesday, something to consider the next round.
And then Mayor, I've not as fun as the things we were just talking about. I drove through the Heights, so staff, and I don't know if it's on the Ash Creek Drive, and I don't know if it's 1678 or 1694. It looks like there's a man camp there. There's a trailer parked right up with like 3 doors on it on the side, and I didn't write the address down, but it's unacceptable. Had you guys seen it already? Okay.
We
don't know it's there, but we definitely.
Yeah, I drove by and saw that like 2 days ago, and I meant to come in, but it's a mess. So.
Okay. We have one more item. The Washington County Water Conservancy District has a water survey that they would like the citizens to go on and fill out. You can get to it through our website. So if everyone has time to get on and do that survey. Yeah. So it looks like there's a few questions there.
asking about water in Washington County.
Okay. So
Is there a question like, do you want more water?
Yeah.
you got to pray for it. That's what our mayor says. Yeah. So That is all of our calendar items. Does anybody else have a calendar item that I've missed? I think we're good.
I just have one other thing, just really
Yeah.
quick, while we were talking about those flags. And one thing we do want to clarify, because we do have a couple of different flag things coming up. Chuck, will you look into the flag? Because you know the most about flag etiquette. But will you look into the flag etiquette for the boulevard? This is something that we need to address. There are some residents that feel like we are violating that by having those flags up. They're staying up, they're going up on Thursday and doing that. Some of these flags are put up by the Third Ward. Some of them are put up by the Boy Scouts. Some of them are put up by Tokerville City. And so we're just trying to coordinate across all of those to make sure that the last thing we want to do, obviously, is violate any type of flag etiquette. We had gone through this before and we had talked about this, and we had talked about that the lighting that is out there is considered sufficient to have those up over the weekend. But there's other conversation and people are just reporting that they feel like it's a little bit disrespectful of the city. But we looked into it before and the lighting was sufficient when we addressed this before. But just so that we can kind of give them an answer, we just look into that and let us know.
It'd be nice.
What's that?
What date?
Oh, just anytime.
Just in general, if those,
Okay,
yes,
so-
if the
Chuck, specifically.
are
the
okay to
holiday
stay
we
up
just took
overnight.
care of, Veterans Day, they celebrated it on Friday, but Saturday was the actual holiday. And so the
Stayed
city
out
put-
overnight.
They got put up on Thursday.
Thursday when
for
Public Works
Friday
is
and
not here
Saturday.
Friday.
But like most of the wards that put them up on Saturday and took them down on Saturday. And so I think having us all on the same page would be.
Right. And
And then-
it would be the preference of the city if it is within flag etiquette to leave those up, we would prefer to leave them up over the weekend.
Sure.
We think it looks really nice on the boulevard. We think it looks really nice up at the cemetery, and people go to visit on different days. So if it is within flag etiquette to keep those flags up from Thursday all the way through Monday, that would be our preference. We've purchased enough flags to do
And
that.
it- But the question is is there enough light to keep them up overnight?
Right. That's the question.
And when you're considering that, the tree growth is a lot different than maybe when you first evaluated it. So
Yeah.
that might
So
be
we
something
just need
else
to get
too.
Some clarification.
That might be something else to consider when you're looking into if it's adequate lighting, because the tree might be blocking some of the lighting.
Yeah. So, okay, let us know, Chuck. Thanks.
All right. Well, we're done with this. We do need to move into a closed session. So at this point, our regular session is closed. It is 6:42. We'll take a 5-minute break. Yeah, we'll need a motion, but I think we do when we come back. Yep, 5-minute break.